This one left me shocked, so you won't want to miss the last update. My female 17, mom, female 45, cheated on my dad, male 46, 7 years ago with my stepdad, Alan, male 50. I was 10 at that time. I knew that my mom had another boyfriend that made them get a divorce. My dad was devastated, to say the least. My dad fought hard to get custody from my mom because he did not want to lose me at all. He did end up getting 50-50ths. Ever since my parents' divorce, I have hated my mom. I hated that she hurt my dad. I remember my dad drinking himself to sleep after the divorce. I was 11 and had to push him out of the couch and clean his vomit. I saw what my mom did to my dad, and my stepdad was also to blame for it. My dad did clean up and started to make changes in his life and became a good father figure for me. But he still suffered from the aftermath of my mom's infidelity. He was finally in a better place now. He has worked enough to build a relationship with me too. Suffice to say, the relationship I had with my mom never recovered. I hated going to her place and watching her play family with some random guy. She never made an effort to keep our family together, yet she happily became the loving wife to him. I hated him too. My mom tried really hard to make me forgive her. She said sorry and apologized. I never missed a chance to remind her that she was the one who broke my family. It will make her cry that her own daughter wants nothing to do with her, but I didn't care. I would lock myself in my room the entire time and not come out. I was always loud and clear that I don't like my stepdad, even though he also tried to make it up to me. Any gift he would give me, I would just give it away. Last year, my mom, Alan, and I had a huge fight. I called my mom a cheating whore who destroyed my family. I also called Alan a homewrecker and said, "I hope your own son gets cheated on so that you know what the pain is like." Alan screamed at me that he is tired of my poop. I left their house and went to stay with Dad. I thought it was so unfair that my mom lives happily ever after, and my dad was left behind to pick the pieces of our broken home. That's when my dad sat me down and told me that I should have never talked to my mom like that. Sure, she made a bad choice, but she is still my mother. And then he told me he forgave her, and it is for the best that I forgive her because it will make me free. My dad went on to explain that in his therapy, he realized his marriage had problems. He thought that just because everything was going on a routine and there was silence, he took it as a sign that everything was fine. However, he learned a lot about relationships and himself over the last 7 years and has tried to become someone I could look up to. He tells me he is dating someone else and he is happy with the life he has now, though there are some triggers. I was happy to hear that my dad was doing okay, and it made me realize I was being irrational. I'm still mad at Mom, but I decided to give her a chance. I said sorry to both my mom and stepdad. I also said sorry to my stepbrother and my half-brother. Things have been calm and cool for a while. I met my dad's girlfriend. She seems awesome. She has 2 kids who are under 10. Though she is much younger than my dad, I didn't care. As long as Dad is happy, I am happy for him. So, a few days ago, I was chatting with my mom. I brought up the fact that I met my dad's girlfriend this week and she seems nice. My mom's expression changes. She went from having a smile to frowning. She says, "I didn't know your dad was dating." I said I didn't either, but my dad is taking things slow. I told her she is really nice and cool. My mom then lashed out and called me a hypocrite. She said that for years her stepdad and her have been trying hard to make me forgive them. They went out of their ways to make it right, and I still didn't accept them. But I accepted my dad's girlfriend in a heartbeat, and suddenly she is this cool step-parent. I was angry too, so I blurted out, "At least she didn't cheat on my dad like you." I also said that I would never accept my stepdad as a good human because he is the reason why I grew up in a broken family, that I do not owe them anything after how they treated my dad. I respect my dad's GF more than I respect them because at least she didn't cheat on him and left him to pick up the broken pieces of our family. In fact, she is the reason why Dad is happy now, and she will always be above my stepdad. I stormed out and stayed with friends. I know I shouldn't have said that. I mean, firstly, my dad and his GF have only been dating for 6 months. My mom and dad were married for 13 years, and I felt like I oversold their relationship to Mom. But I feel like an idiot for how I worded it. Now for a few comments before the first update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Actions have consequences, and your mom was wrong to end the marriage the way she did. I have no empathy for her or her husband. That said, given your animosity towards your mom and her husband, I am curious as to why you are over at their house. At 17, you are of an age where you can choose what parent you want to live with. Why would you willingly subject yourself to such anger-filled encounters with two people you despise? This is not a healthy environment for you and especially for the other kids living there. That is their home. Those are their parents, and they don't deserve to have their home turned into a war zone by you when you could just stay away. Comment 2. Not the idiot she hurt you and her actions destroyed the relationship between your dad and her. Then the original poster responded with, I get that, but I feel like I oversold my dad's new relationship to her to make her feel bad. I mean, I don't know if my dad and his GF will last forever or if she will not cheat on him later in life. Then another commenter responded with, mentioning that your dad has a GF isn't overselling. Unless there's stuff you left out, like gushing about how the GF is the best mother in the universe or something like that, that would be overselling. Imperfect analogy. If I casually mention that a new coffee shop opened and it upsets you, then I'd say there is something bothering you that causes that reaction, not me saying that I want to try the new mocha they invented. Then the original poster responded with, mentioning that your dad has a GF isn't overselling. Unless there's stuff you left out, like gushing about how the GF is the best mother in the universe or something like that, that would be overselling. Imperfect analogy. If I casually mention that a new coffee shop opened and it upsets you, then I'd say there is something bothering you that causes that reaction, not me saying that I want to try the new mocha they invented. Now, for the first update, I need to address one thing. Many people criticized my dad for being an alcoholic. Well, he is not an alcoholic. He hasn't drank in 6 years. Yes, I did mention that he drowned his pain in alcohol when my mom cheated and after the divorce, but he stopped when he saw me trying to clean up his vomit. I know he was wrong, but he has done literally everything to make it up to me. He went to rehab and threw away all the alcoholic drinks in the house. He went to therapy and worked hard on his career. He even got me to therapy. He has apologized for his toxic behavior and also tried his best to keep our family together. He has always made an open space for me to express my feelings. I feel safe with him. I trust him. He never bad-mouthed my mother in front of me. Yes, he still suffers from anxiety, but he has it under control. I hated watching his and our lives getting uprooted. So, I don't think it is fair for you guys to blame my dad only when he changed for me. He came clean. He stopped being an alcoholic. But say this to me, can my mother undo her infidelity? Also, I know their marriage had problems, but cheating is the right thing for her to do. And I haven't mentioned a major thing, which is that my stepdad and my dad used to be friends until the discovery of my mom's infidelity. He cut him off his life too. So yeah, you can imagine the pain both me and my dad went through. But I am proud of him for keeping his head straight. So now the update, I talked to my dad and arranged therapy with my old therapist. I also suggested that we need family therapy as well. My dad fully supported me and said he will look into it. Lastly, I called my mom to say sorry, but instead my stepdad picked it up. I asked for my mom, and he said that mom has locked herself in their bedroom because she is pissed. My mom has this habit that whenever she is mad, she locks herself in a room. I asked why. He said that they had a fight about my dad. Basically, my mom had a hint that my dad was dating someone a few weeks ago when he saw him at the local market with his GF. At that time, I knew he had a GF but didn't tell mom. She took the liberty to track her on Facebook, IDK, how she got her ID. My stepdad has caught her several times looking at my dad's GF. There were pictures of dad and her too. So their argument was that my mom was basically obsessed with my dad's GF and has been stalking her. My stepdad said it's best that I do not speak to her for a while because she clearly has some issues of her own. Well, I don't know what to say. Someone you told me she was jealous that my dad moved on. This could just be it. I may or may not post any further updates, so until then, see you guys. I will be in therapy working things out on my own. Edit. For flip's sake, people, I am really getting tired of people messaging me and commenting that my dad was a deadbeat dad who used me as a nurse. Some of you are so cruel that you guys think that my mom made the right choice by cheating on him and leaving him. To you, I have nothing else to say. You guys are just a bunch of triggered owls who only want to blame the victim here. No, my dad was not alcoholic throughout his life. It only happened when he confronted my mom for her affair. It only lasted for like a year. And no, he didn't make me clean his vomit. I saw him covered in it, so I cleaned him myself, and then he woke up and saw me. I don't know how many times I have to repeat it. That was the first and last time it happened. You guys only see this part, but there is so much you don't know. He was the best dad I could ask for, and I wouldn't trade it just because one time I had to clean him up. I don't care now. Because my dad has cleaned up my vomit numerous times when I was sick, and he did it without a complaint. I cannot believe you guys are so pathetic that you are only fixated on that part, and not the part where he actually cleaned himself up and made a better place for me. He was not a deadbeat or abusive in any way. Deadbeat dads don't put their daughters to therapy and fight hard for their custody. Now, for a few comments before the last update. I'm glad you're going to be working this out with a therapist, because you're not responsible for your mom's behavior. She is jealous of your dad moving on, and he should. If she truly expected him to sit round pining for her, then that's her problem that she needs to work out with a therapist herself instead of locking herself in a room like a stroppy teenager. Then the original poster responded with, I'm afraid to ask her since she stalked a woman who my dad has only been dating for a few months. Heck, even I haven't seen her social media that much. Comment 2. Your mom is insane. She can't deal with someone making your dad happy, a younger woman no less. I guess the other side wasn't so green for her after all. Just wash your hands and wait for her to contact you. Then the original poster responded with, I don't know, but she seemed really happy with my stepdad. They have a kid together, my half-brother. Now, for the final update. And if you made it this far, please drop a like. So, before I update, I am so grateful for those of you who have come to show support for me and my dad. I have read or tried to read your messages and comments, and honestly, those positive messages really got to me. I was not upset by the trolls. Also, I had beef with a few of them too, but if I ever said something bad, then please forgive me. I am still little. Anyways, back to the update. Well, from my last post, you guys can see that I have in fact been cheated on. It is funny because in my first post I mentioned that the last time I had a fight with my stepdad, I told him I hope his son gets cheated on so he knows how that feels. And now here I am losing my BF and my friend because they stabbed me in the back. I guess it is karma. The breakup is still fresh in my mind. I still cry sometimes thinking about it, but I am glad I have my other friends and obviously my dad with me, so I hope I will be fine. And yes, I did end up going to Disneyland with my dad and we had a lot of fun. But my dad ended up becoming sick after we came back for a little while. He is better now. I guess he had some bad food on the way. Otherwise, he is fine. I finally spoke to my mom. She came to visit me at my dad's house. My dad rarely sees her, so he was also shocked to see her. She looked a bit out of the place as if she was entering Narnia. She wanted to talk to me and my dad. Dad went inside his room to give us some privacy to talk. Then we sat down. She apologized to me for acting so irrationally and never taking my feelings into account. IDK what happened, but I asked her if she ever felt any guilt for cheating on my dad. She cried and said that she has always been guilty of how things ended between my dad and her. She didn't go much into details, but at that time my dad and her were having some marriage problems. She and dad wanted to work things out, but she was still feeling empty. Then my stepdad came and she found an escape from her life with him. She said she was selfish. She wanted to have it all, but she knew someday her lies would be caught, and it did. She mentioned that she and dad have grown distant because of the affair. She does regret it and wishes she could have handled it better. She has spent 7 years or more with my stepdad, but deep down she still had feelings for my dad. Someday she even wakes up and guilt washes over her. She regrets ever starting the affair. The problem was not my dad or my stepdad. The problem was her. And she knows she has messed up a lot. I also opened up to her about my struggles in life, how I had to deal with the downfall of their marriage and how it has affected me over the last few years. I wish she had just ended things in a good way rather than introducing a man that has become the bane of my existence. I wish she hadn't pushed me to accept him knowing the pain he caused both me and my dad, and he doesn't seem to feel any remorse. She cried heavily this time and said she now knows how wrong it was, but she thought that if I accepted my stepdad, then the affair wouldn't look so bad on her. I wanted to tell her that she was stupid and that's not how it works. I asked her why she was so obsessed with Layla, Dad's GF. She told me that ever since their divorce, there has always been a little spark of hope that someday her and Dad would be together. She knows it is foolish for her to think that. But her subconscious mind was telling her that she and Dad are the end game. But learning that he has moved on and started dating just freaked her out. I told her that is bullshit because she was the one who married her affair partner and went on to have a family with him. It is so disgusting and immoral for her to even think that, especially after she was the one who cheated and left. If she still thinks that she has a chance with Dad, then she is either delusional or simply stupid. She doesn't get to dictate how others feel and doesn't get to control what I feel. She says she understands and has been a mess for a long time. She opens up about her own marital situation, which is not good ATM. I also shared my story of being cheated on. She tried to hug me and said it would be okay. It just made me angry. I told her I don't need her sympathy now, especially in matters of cheating. I do love her as a mother. I'm grateful that she has cared for me and especially been honest with me about this situation. But I do not want to talk to her now. I want to go LC until she sorts things that are messed up with her. She needs therapy, and she only should focus on my half-brother. After our conversation ended, my mom and dad talked in his room. I didn't try to eavesdrop or try to listen, so I do not know what they talked about. But after coming out of the room, my mom looked very defeated. After that, we talked a little and she bid us goodbye. I did tell her that I want her in my graduation and other big events, but I want to have some boundaries when it comes to my stepdad. So that closes the mom chapter for a while. And yes, my dad knows about my mom's meltdown, and that's why he wanted to talk to her in private. I don't think this issue is solved here. I honestly laughed a little because my dad and my mom have not been in contact for a long time, and he should know. On the bright side, I did get to meet Layla's kids. Ever since my dad became sick, she has been coming frequently to cook or clean. Sometimes she would bring her kids, and I do enjoy playing with them. I always wished to have siblings, and now I have 3. Hopefully this will be my last update. I honestly thank anyone who has given me some good advice and comments. I hope you guys have a lovely life, and thank you so much for the support. Comment. 1. Good on your mom for finally looking at this from another perspective and accepting and apologizing for your experience rather than focusing solely on her own. I think going low contact with her makes sense though. Just because she's finally apologized and seems to realize the magnitude of what she did doesn't mean you have to forgive her, and she doesn't seem ready for a real relationship if she's still holding out hope for something to happen with your dad. Best wishes OP. Comment 2. I swear people were very dumb whenever they called out your father for being drunk and alcoholic. That made me so mad because your father stepped up and did one hell of a job like a good father should. I'm glad things are looking up now. Comment 3. You are wise beyond your years. You were right to call your mom delusional because the fantasy that she would always end up back with your dad is just that. Same with setting the boundaries and telling her the expectations she had of your relationship with her husband. It was never about you. It was always about what made her feel good and look best. Low contact is the best solution until she has worked through some of the mess she created. Good luck with your future graduation. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.